Yes, numbers are good, but you need to tell a story. In HR, it's not enough to collect exit data. You need to bring it to life. Today, I will show you how to transform your exit data into visuals that managers and decision makers can easily understand. Welcome back to HR Analytics and Rewards Lab. On this channel, we simplify HR analytics and rewards for professionals like you. So today we will visualize the exit data we had discussed in our last videos. We'll go straight to showing how to summarize it in pivots. So we have done this because some managers, some decision makers like to see their report in plain text. So even though you want to visualize, you need to understand your audience. So we have shown the summary here per department, per exit category, per the type, just like we discussed in the last video. Exit reasons, the count are all showing the line managers who have the highest exit and the levels of exiting employees. We also showed the exit by gender, the last appraisal score, and all of that. In as much as they may prefer this, it's also good to visualize in the standard way or to even introduce them, and subsequently they might prefer that. So we move straight to the visualization. But before you start talking about your visualization, managers, leaders want to know what the end goal is before breaking it down. So you need to tell them what your turnover rate is, what your attrition rate is. Turnover is all exits included, voluntary and involuntary. Attrition is focusing on your voluntary exit, most likely people you don't want to lose. Now, for us to compute our turnover rate, people just make the mistake and say, okay, at the end of the year, I had 18 turnover, and just say, okay, my headcount for December was 54, and then they just go straight and use 18 over 54. If we do that, we'll get a 33% turnover rate. But that's not the true picture. Because it is a full year exit data, you need to get the full head count, January to February. The average head count is what your denominator is going to be. And in that case, we are going to see that our turnover rate here is 34.9%, as against calling 33%, which is not the true picture. Remember that your exit data was a full year, January to December. Again, for attrition, we'll repeat the same, but focusing on voluntary. For our data set, our voluntary exit was 12. So it is now going to be 12 over our average headcount, which will give us 23.3%. So you want to report before you start showing your line managers that your attrition rate is 23%, but your total turnover rate is 34.9%. Then you can now begin to delve into what must have led to this, what departments have the highest attrition. Now we see that we had visualized, bringing into context all that we had learned in terms of data visualization, consistency in formats, starting with ascending or decreasing order. And so we represented exits by department here. You can see the flow. You can easily tell that your retail team has the highest exit. You need to now start to confirm and do more research to find out why this team is having exits like this. We decided to also show the monthly exit trend, and you can see that in the month of March we had more exits. We need to also begin to focus, why do we have this for March and in December? Then by category, our voluntary exit is at 67%. This can be good because we are saying we don't want a lot of involuntary exits, maybe termination, bad performance, redundancy. So we want it somewhere around this to about 90%, because as much as we want to uh, delete involuntary exit, there might be people we might ask as HR to leave the business because of consistent underperformance, even after everything has been done to improve their work. Now, we also visualize types of exits for managers to understand that, okay, whilst we have voluntary and involuntary, we are breaking down the voluntary to show that there were some that were resignations, some that were death cases, some that were retirements. Retirement is still a form of voluntary. And then you can see the company-led resignations, which are involuntary. Then for exit reasons, we'll find out that new employment and emigrations are the major reasons for exit, accounting for over 60% of your exit in 2025. Then further addressed the exit by gender, we see that we have more male exit than female exit. Again, you find out if there's any particular reason for that. Then by age, we see that our millennials are the ones leaving the business. That means that we need to start engaging people of this age brackets to find a way to retain them as HR. Then for length of stay, we also found out that we have only 6% of the exits being that they have stayed up to 3 years. Majority of our exits were less than 2 years, which is 72%, and 11% were less than 1 year. For average appraisal score, we also found out that uh, good performers are exiting. 56% of them had meet expectations. We had 17% of our exits reporting as reporting as outstanding. That means outstanding performers are exiting. So we need to find a way to retain our high potentials. Then again, recall I said for accountability, let us track the line managers that have exiting employees. We'll find out that the black line manager has 3 people who have left. For this case, you might want to refrain from using percentage so you can see the actual numbers if you're really trying to solve a problem here. We also discussed exit by staff levels, depicted them and visualized it here. And we see that our lower levels are the ones existing. This is better because you don't want a situation where your high performance and senior employees are the ones leaving your organization. That would be a serious red flag. Again, this is just for full year 2025. To make this data richer, if you have a pre-existing data for the previous year, you can analyze and compare both of them. Now, if you don't have for the previous year, it's not too late. You started this current year, so continue what you have been doing so that you can compare and see the trend between 2 years, 3 years, and even up to 10 years. So you can see that we have visualized exit by department to show what it was in the previous year. Retail that had the highest 4 in 2025, in 2024 they had it at 3, and marketing has now gone up to show that it was the highest exit in 2024. So this helps you understand better as against just visualizing just 1 year. You can see our year-on-year gender remains the same. So it means that there's really nothing to worry about gender exit here. Then our monthly exits, we also see the trend maintaining the same thing somewhere in March and in December. But for last year, we had more in August. Again, it means that there's something unique about March and December. When for that to show you what the year-on-year staff tenure is, it's about the same thing, so we have nothing to worry about. But exit by category, we want to know if the previous years had the same type of voluntary and involuntary exit. But we see that in 2024 we had a higher voluntary exit and a lower involuntary exit. But in total, we had more exit in 2024. It means that some retention strategy have started kicking in. You need to track and continue using those strategies. For the exit reasons, we see that for 2024, we had the same reasons, new employment and immigration accounting for more exit reasons. But this time around, it was switched because immigration was higher in 2024. You need to begin to check your benchmark reports to see what you can do to retain your employees from being poached to other organizations. Again, recall that I said that you must always show what your turnover is and your attrition rate even before you start all of this visualization. Now you can see that for 2024, it was a higher rate at 42.5% versus 34.9%. So this kind of trend shows your decision makers, shows your CEO, shows everyone who use the report that HR is working. HR is doing something to reduce this numbers. So once you have all of this, it's also nice that you compare different data sets that you have collected. You want to confirm your voluntary exits if they have similar line manager, or your involuntary exits have similar line manager as well. The appraisal ratings of your voluntary exits, if it is your high posts that are exiting the business, or the length of stay of those that exited your business voluntarily, you want to check all of that. So this graph here shows us that black and red have high voluntary exits, and when we combine involuntary and voluntary exits, we see that red has high exit. So you need to check and prompt the talent manager here to have a deep dive as to what is really going on. And when we find out that those performing well or even exceeding expectation are really leaving voluntarily, it is something that we need to question. A number of things can be linked. Now, in our next video, I will be showing you how to depict and visualize in a presentation format on your PowerPoint or your PDF with insight. It's not enough to just show numbers. Visuals simplify what numbers complicate. If your exit report looks like what we have just discussed, leaders can easily spot patterns at a glance. So if you like what we have just discussed here today, please subscribe to this channel for more HR analytics insights.